Self-compassion has 3 components. It's not necessarily easy when we notice that inner critic just coming on strong to be like, stop. And oftentimes we get angry about the angry voice. We get angry at the anger. That's meeting fire with fire. It's meeting aggression with aggression. What happens in a situation like that? Think about in your relationships. If you meet fire with fire, what happens?
It blows up.
It blows up. Explosion. You don't feel peaceful. You don't feel calm. It's not motivating in a positive way, probably in a more negative way. Okay? People get hurt. Same thing happens internally to us. We're going to hurt ourselves worse if we try to meet the critic with aggression. What happens there in that moment? Now we feel very threatened. Okay? In an aggressive, defensive stance, that's a threatened stance. That's fight, flight, or flee stance. That's move away, not lean into and move toward. That's not motivating. Okay? So we end up stuck. 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the gas. With self-compassion, okay, we're literally practicing talking to ourselves like we would a friend. Kind, understanding, soft, tender, gentle. I don't know why every time I say those words, guys, like they hit me. I'm not immune to the inner critic. It's strong. But it's this softness that allows me to move forward. Okay? This is what we want our clients to begin to experience. This level of vulnerability. Because they're staunch, I'm stuck, I'm not moving, I can't do this. It's not working for them. So the first part is kindness. Remember, 3 parts to self-compassion. 1, kindness. Okay? Think about how you speak with your children. I hope those of you who have kids, you're talking to them with kindness. When they cry, okay, when they come to you with discomfort, you love them. You're not telling them to stop crying, okay? Hopefully you approach them like Jen does. Sweetheart, I can tell that you're upset. You want to tell me about it? Maybe you share a story with them about a time when you were a kid and you were upset. That's understanding. That's how we need to practice being with ourselves. The second piece is common humanity. It's the conversation I had with Alex. Common humanity. It's almost like this collective consciousness. What we realize is that we are not alone. Like I can stand up here and I can start crying when I'm talking about softness, tenderness, and gentleness. I know I'm not the only one in the room who feels that within themselves. Maybe not on their own, but with other people as well. Okay? We get into this mindset that we're alone. And what do we do when we feel threatened? We isolate, right? No one would understand. I'm going to go figure this out on my own. I need to be by myself. What do we need to do in those situations? We typically need to reach out. Yeah. Go get some love. Go get a hug. I am not afraid to ask Ben for hugs. He usually needs to know when to give them to me too.
What's the script for success?
Hugs. Yeah. This is.
Yeah, do you just sense that?
I do.
That's sometimes the best medicine.
PRN refills.
This is. Listen to this guy. He's the hope dealer.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So common humanity. And I don't want you guys to just be thinking about this for yourselves, but be thinking about how you can teach this to your clients. Because you see it every day, them berating themselves, them getting very, very upset when they make a mistake or go over their macros on these very, very, what I consider tangential, meaningless things. but to them they're very, very important. So we have to acknowledge that, but then at the same time, acknowledge what's underneath it, right? So first there's kindness, then there's common humanity, okay? We're all in this together. All of us have experienced the shame, the discomfort, the vulnerability. And then there's mindfulness. And mindfulness is a non-judgmental awareness. So it's this, let's use the example of when we notice the inner critic, okay? When the inner critic comes in, I feel it in my body. Okay, yes, there are words in my head. It can be very cerebral and cognitive, but my actions change because my energy in my body changes below the neck. There's a sense of rigidity, right? I may get hot. I may feel flush. My default, Joe knows this well, is no. No. When I feel uncomfortable, the answer is no. And fortunately, Joe and I have the sort of relationship where he's privy to that. Like he knows that's an enduring vulnerability of mine. That's part of my default mode. But if you give me the space and you don't put pressure on me and you allow me to come to my own sort of decision, let me explore, allow Kori to become open, then it's usually like that's an invitation. It doesn't feel like a demand for me. I have this thing from way, way back, this protective part inside of me that don't fucking tell me what to do. I want to make my own decision. So when that comes out, that's the moment where I can practice engaging mindfulness. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Here's where the kindness comes in, right? I know where this comes from. It's almost like I'm going to have a very kind conversation with that defensiveness, with the no. Okay? Because it's that little girl part of me coming out that's saying, protect. Like, this isn't safe. Not a good place right now. So as an adult, a 40-year-old woman who's a vice president of a big company who has all these amazing supporters around her and friends, I hear you. And I get that you're scared. And it's okay. We're going to walk together. We can do this. We'll do it hand in hand. This isn't about getting rid of that part of myself. Not at all. It's about embracing it with love, with compassion, with openness, and recognizing that it had real value early on in my life.